again in this new video about artificial intelligence, defining what artificial intelligence is about. And in this video, I will talk about Alan Turing and acting humanly. We will be talking about the Turing test and the consequences of the Turing test and modern evolutions. Let's have an overview of this lesson. First, we look at the conditions of the test, the Turing test, of course. We look at the computer and what capabilities does a computer need to try to convince the observer that it is basically a human. So we need certain capabilities. We also introduce the total Turing test. What is this about? It's an unofficial test, but we see that at this moment AI is evolving so quickly that we have to find better ways to deal with the Turing test. We look at some humans who were failing the test. This also happens that the observer made the wrong call or the wrong decision. And we will also look at the Eugene Gustman case, which is a very interesting case related to the Turing test. And of course, we want to see what is the status in October 2023. This is the moment I'm recording these videos. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. So let's have a look at the first point, the conditions of the Turing test. The Turing test originates from Alan Turing's question, can a computer think? We call it the imitation game, and today we know the imitation game basically as the Turing test. There is an observer or evaluator who is a person to evaluate if the answer originates from a computer or from a person. It can be one observer, it can be a number of people, a committee that is observing and that is estimating or deciding, is this a computer I'm talking to or is it a human? When the answer of the computer is identified as human, it means that the computer passes the Turing test. And it means that we have a strong AI because we assume that this computer has human-like intelligence. When we look at the computer, when we're dealing with the computer, this computer needs to have specific capabilities in order to participate in the Turing test. When we look at the computers, what is needed to pass the Turing test, we need a computer with, in fact, some different items. We need a computer who's able to do natural language processing. We can ask questions to the computer, so the computer has to understand and also has to reply to us as if it is human. There has to be a knowledge representation. The computer should be able to reason automatically, and of course there should be machine learning so that the computer can learn about the different items, about the discussion, about the topics that are being asked to the computer. We see that the Turing test has been defined in 1950 or in around that time, and we see also that AI has evolved a lot. Now, when we see that this rapid evolution, there are in fact different items for which the classical Turing test is not suitable anymore. We need to identify the person or the computer who we are submitting to the Turing test. We have to see, is it a computer or is it a person? But with the evolution of AI, this has become a lot more complicated than the old way. The Turing test, when we look at a total Turing test, this test should include visual acuity and physical interactions. We want to see how the machine will deal with certain elements. So this is about the total Turing test. It's not an official test, but it's for sure important to update the way we are testing intelligence of machine. Now, sometimes it happens that people are failing the Turing test. The idea is that when a person is participating in a Turing test, we expect that that person will pass the Turing test because they are human. A human should always pass the Turing test. There are some cases where by error the observer thought the person was a computer. This is the case with a person who had basically a complete knowledge of the works of Shakespeare and his life, and the observer assumed that this could only be possible when that item, that it would be a computer. The person could not imagine that a normal human being would have that complete knowledge. And the result was that the person failed the Turing test. A very interesting case when we relate to the Turing test is the Eugene Gustman case. And you can find some more information in the link about this case and some other cases. But in this case, we looked at the special case where in 2014 a computer has passed the Turing test, but it was a special case. So until 2014 there was no computer that could pass the Turing test. This case is called Eugene Gustman, and in this case we have a computer that is imitating a 13-year-old boy, and this computer fooled the majority of the judges that he was human, but in fact it was a computer. So this is a case where, a special case where a computer could fool the majority of the judges. When we look at the status up to today, we are October 2023, we see that over a few years we've noticed that there are more and more sophisticated AI applications that appear. We've seen in the last year that, for example, ChatGPT, Google AI, and others have become very good at mimicking human behavior and communications. And we see that students and teachers also are using, or other people are using AI to support their jobs, or students to create papers. There are some solutions where people or the computers try to identify if the work is original or does it come from ChatGPT or another AI. A lot of applications are there and we are dealing with them every day. We find them in grammar, in other correction programs where we can in fact improve the results by the application of AI. The original Turing test, which was developed in the 1950s, and when we see the evolution of AI, those new applications are in fact able or more equipped to fool the Turing test or to pass the Turing test. And we have to look also at the future. What are the different tests that we can do? We will find that we will have better AI applications where it becomes more and more difficult to really identify if this is a machine or a person we are communicating with. So let's have a look at the conclusions of this lesson, of this video. When we look at the Turing test, we know that it was a part of Alan Turing's publication. It's called The Imitation Game, and it has been used to evaluate the intelligence of machines. Computers that want to pass a test or that we want to create to pass a test should have specific capabilities like natural language processing, automated reasoning, and machine learning. Future developments may need a total Turing test to deal with the evolution of artificial intelligence. And of course, sometimes we see that people fail the test, and there is also the Eugene Gustman case where a 13-year-old boy, imitated by a computer, was able to pass the Turing test. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much for watching the video. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you and bye-bye.